Ramadan Kareem to you and your loved ones from myself, Chris. Off script, you can catch us Dubai 103.8 every weeknight from 5 until 8.
You're listening to the UAE's #1 talk radio station.
This is The Agenda with Georgia Tolley
On Dubai Eye 103.8.
Hello there, 11:36. Welcome back. Bit of a shout out to Mary Young. Thank you very much for your lovely message that you just sent in on 4001. We are discussing the realities of retirement in the UAE on the programme today. That's as sweeping new visa regulations got us talking about whether or not it's financially possible. Now, golden visa holders can now sponsor their parents as they are 1-degree relatives. The rules are set to come into force in September. But in Dubai, you can actually already get a retirement visa as long as you fulfill certain criteria. Earlier on, I spoke to lawyer Ali Al-Assad from Denton's Middle East, who outlined those requirements.
As per the last changes we received, the criteria is one of the following three. Either a property investment with a value of 1 million dirham, and for that, an official evaluation need to be obtained because, like from time to time, there is fluctuation in the market. So we need to assess the current value of the investment. Alternatively, if there is a deposit in a bank in the UAE for a 1 million dirham or plus, this can be the second criteria. And the third one is a monthly income of 15,000 dirham. And that need to be proven by a bank statement, at least for the last 6 months, showing that this income is constantly coming to the account of the applicant.
So, as you can hear, basically it's financial obligations. And the biggest concern for any pensioner is, of course, their pension pot. That's the fund they'll be living off until the end of their life. Now, one person who's made managing that pension pot his career is Sajeev Nair. He's a senior executive officer for Zurich Workplace Solutions. Now, they manage the DIFC Employee Workplace Savings Plan. And they also talk a lot about how you can develop that pension pot for your retirement. And Sajeev joins me now on the line, and we're live on Microsoft Teams and Facebook Live as well. Live everywhere. Hello.
Hi, Georgia. Good morning. How are you?
Hello. Good morning. I'm very well indeed. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about this really important topic. It's really got people talking. We've had a lot of messages through about pension plans, about medical insurance, about the realities of retiring here in the United Arab Emirates. And many people who are listening right now will be working hard, partly in order to save for their retirement. Now, you're a bit of an expert on this matter. How much do people need?
Well, that is a difficult one because that completely depends on the lifestyle you would like to have at the time you retire. But as a thumb rule, what we observe is if you save 20 to 30% of your annual salary, for most people, that should allow you to sustain the lifestyle that you have been living. But you have to bear in mind that there are cost of delays associated with when you start saving this. So let's assume you start saving when you're 30 years old, you might approximately need, let's say, 39 or 40,000 dirhams annually to be saved. But if you start when you're 40, that corresponding number goes to about 75,000 dirhams annually. So the cost of delay roughly doubles. Between the age bracket of 30 and 40, the cost of delay generally tends to double. So what we're observing is many people generally tend to be unenthused about, putting small pots of money aside. The initial outlay might be quite meager and it doesn't excite them so much. But the reality is you've got to recognize that the compounding effect is a tried and tested method, and that's something that you should always rely on. And to answer your exam question, Georgia, I think it's quite important that you do need to seek financial advice. You need to have, you need to place focus on what is your retirement requirement. Seek financial advice and use the thumb rule to proceed much before you retire.
I have to admit that even in my early 40s, I'm probably not paying enough attention towards my potential. Well, no, I mean, the retirement is a reality, I hope. I suppose I could carry on working forever. That's the other option. But there are no pension schemes here in the United Arab Emirates. So what can people do? I mean, I grew up in the UK where, the whole process is really formalised, but there isn't sort of that same reality here.
So there is what was traditionally called the end of service gratuity scheme, which is being gradually replaced by the DIF, a defined contribution end of service benefit scheme like what we run with the DIFC. So that's an alternative that people could look at. It is professionally managed. There are professional international service providers. It's held in trust. And it's the investment solutions are quite broad, quite competitive. So that's an option that people could look at if they are in employment. And as this gets rolled out and the adoption becomes wider, schemes like these will be allowed, employers will be allowed to opt in voluntarily from later this year into schemes like these. So that's one option to look at. The other option is working with a financial advisor to look at, other investment solutions that are here in the region.
So if your employer says, look, you can either join this scheme where I put in a percentage of your salary, not of your salary, I put in a percentage of what would have been your end of service leave benefit into an account each month for you and it gets managed, or you can just have the big lump sum at the end, which should you definitely go for the little, invest it for me now kind of vibe?
So what we are seeing over the last 2 years of this particular scheme being in operation, so just when we have 21,500 employees, 1,450 employers, so we've seen two key trends, right? One, of course, the employers are making mandatory contributions on the employees' behalf. We're also seeing a lot of people making voluntary contributions. So regularly when they have a bonus, people are making a voluntary contribution. So the voluntary contributions are gradually increasing year on year. That shows awareness. That shows, every time there's bonus period, we see a big uplift in people making voluntary contributions. We're also seeing a trend where people are transferring, or employers are transferring, accrued gratuity from the old system to the new system. So of the 1,450 employers, we've seen about 300 employers roughly who have transferred, money from the old scheme to the new scheme. That's an endorsement in itself, where people are not just giving, great ratings and surveys. They're talking with their money. So based on the data, I would say definitely it makes sense to follow a scheme like this.
I have to say, I've got several friends who work in the DIFC and they've joined the scheme there and they seem very happy about it. They talk about the app being very easy to use and you can sort of see what your money's doing. And even with a fair amount of regularity, you can change your risk exposure according to how you feel with different bits of the money. So it does sound like a fantastic scheme. What happens at the end of your employment, though? Like, do you then just get effectively a lump sum rather than a monthly stipend?
So you have two choices. You can either take it out as a lump sum and, you can either invest it elsewhere. We're seeing many people leave the UAE, they take the money to their home countries, or you can stay invested. And we're seeing a lot of people staying invested in the scheme just because it's competitive. There's a whole range of options based on their risk profiles. So currently you have those two options at the moment. We still don't have an option where yet. The technology allows for it, but we still, the market isn't that mature where we can allow for decumulation over a period of time. But that functionality, if the regulation allows for it, can be introduced over a period of time.
You do get a sense that quite a lot of steps have been made towards making the regulatory and the financial and experience for retirees more palatable. That there's definitely, you can see that the government are taking several steps towards it, but maybe we just need a few more to make the UAE that really attractive and economic, an economically friendly proposition ultimately.
So the way I see it, the way it has been orchestrated over the last couple of years, Georgia, this is a perfect example of serendipity or connecting the dots, okay? So you've got a great infrastructure, great place to live, high standards of living, secure place. You're bringing in talent through a series of visa and regulatory regimes. And I think not only will UAE be a great talent destination, with all of the other things that we can put in place over the coming months and years, it will also be a great retirement destination. So it's a matter of connecting the dots, and I can very much see that the dots are getting connected. So it's hugely exciting times to be here.
Yes, indeed. I'm 43. I probably want to retire around 60. So they've got another 17 years to sort it out, and then I'll be happy. Frankly, that's how it works for me from a purely selfish point of view. Although apparently you can retire from 55. So maybe I want them to hurry it up a bit more.
I might, for sure.
Of course. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your time and your insights, as ever. Sajeev Nair, a Senior Executive Officer for Zurich Workplace Solutions. Now, they, of course, manage the DIFC Employee Workplace Savings Plan. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you.